All right, so moving on to the next segment, I'll be sharing my fight prediction in the sport of boxing between Keyshawn Davis and Dennis Berinchyk. So, at the lightweight division this upcoming weekend on Valentine's Day, Dennis Berinchyk will be defending his lightweight WBO world title against Keyshawn Davis Friday night on Valentine's Day on ESPN Top Rank. So, these are the following storylines that I have heading into this fight. Is Keyshawn Davis ready to be a world champion? Now, the way how Keyshawn Davis has been developed, he's been groomed and marketed. Bob Arum and ESPN Top Rank have done a good job marketing Keyshawn Davis and establishing him as the next big thing at this lightweight division. Now, there's a lot of people that view him as the next big thing in the lightweight division. I think he has the skills, the aura, everything you want in a future world champion. Keyshawn Davis has the skills to be a legitimate threat at 135. And he has the skills to hang with the top guys, the other world champions in this division, that being Gervonta Davis, that being Shakur Stevenson, that being Vasily Lomachenko, excuse me. And I think we're going to see if he's ready to have his big moment Friday and his first world title fight against Dennis Berinchyk. So we're going to see if he's ready to hang in the big leagues with his first world title opportunity. And then for the champion, Dennis Berinchyk, is he here to stay? Now, I'm not coming from a boxing casual standpoint. From a guy that watches a lot, I never heard of Dennis Berinchyk until he fought Emmanuel Navarrete last year for the vacant WBO title. As you guys know, the titles were vacant once Devin Haney relinquished all the titles and then moved up to 140 a year or so ago. So that WBO title was vacant, and Dennis Berinchyk defeated Emmanuel Navarrete last year for the title. And Emmanuel Navarrete, having the title at 130, being the WBO world champion at 130, so he had the opportunity to go after the vacant WBO world title at 135. But Dennis Berinchyk had a one-sided affair fight against Emmanuel Navarrete. It was one-sided, and he had a decisive victory. So when you look at the landscape of this division, Dennis Berinchyk hailing from Ukraine, and he's in his late 30s. When you look at the landscape of this lightweight division, of world champions like Gervonta Davis, Shakur Stevenson, Vasily Lomachenko, right now, Dennis Berinchyk is the wild card, because not only does a lot of people not know who he is, but he came out of nowhere and became a world champion. So it's going to be, in my opinion, yes, when you win a world title in combat sports, it counts, but I don't view you as a world champion until you have your first successful title defense. So we're going to see if Dennis Berinchyk is a true world champion, because he has a big test in front of him, fighting an up-and-coming star in Keyshawn Davis. So we're going to see if Dennis Berinchyk can do what it takes to successfully retain that WBO world title in the sport of boxing on Friday night. But enough of the storylines. Let's get into the tail of the tape here. Starting off with the champion, Dennis Berinchyk. Dennis Berinchyk is 19-0, 19 victories, 0 losses, has 9 victories come away of knockout. Currently the reigning defending WBO world champion at the lightweight division. Stands at 5'7" and has a reach of 66 inches. Then you look at the challenger here, Keyshawn Davis. Keyshawn Davis is 12-0, 12 victories, 0 losses, 8 victories come away of knockout. Stands at 5'9" and has a reach of 70 inches. So the height and the reach goes in favor of the challenger, Keyshawn Davis, for this fight. We're going to see if he uses the height and the reach in his advantage come fight night. But these are the following game plans that I have for these respective fighters to follow if they want to walk out Friday night with the WBO world title. Starting off with the champion, Dennis Berinchyk. Now, I think for Dennis Berinchy's sake, he's got to have constant head movement. And the reason for that, you got to be alert defensively fighting a guy like Keyshawn Davis. You got to move around in the ring, have constant head movement to avoid these big shots that Keyshawn Davis could potentially land and hurt him and slow down his momentum in the sport of boxing. So I think the head movement is going to be very important for him to have constant head movement in that ring. Next, I think he's got to fight in different angles. Now, I watched Dennis Berinchyk, that fight against Emmanuel Navarrete, and I watched him going back, looking at his tape and looking at the film. He's going to have to fight in different angles in there, and he's not the fastest guy, but he can move around in different angles, and I think that's going to be his best shot to throw Keyshawn Davis off his game. He can't just fight in one angle the entire fight. He's got to move around laterally, use the ring to his advantage, and fight in different angles against Keyshawn Davis. Now, last but not least, I think he's got to fight coming forward against Keyshawn Davis. You're going to have to bring it to him, especially if this fight comes to the judges' scorecards. You're thinking about Keyshawn Davis, that Top Rank is obviously trying to build as their future star. you better not let this fight be very close, because if it is, it could go in the wrong way of Dennis Berinchyks' sake. So I think he's got to walk down Keyshawn Davis for the duration of the fight. He's got to let his hands fly. And he's got to keep Keyshawn Davis honest during the fight. Boxing off the back foot and letting Keyshawn Davis bring his offense to you is not going to cut it in this fight against a skillful future star in Keyshawn Davis. So those are the following game plans that I have for Dennis Berinchyk. Now, for the challenger, Keyshawn Davis, I think he's got to win the counter-punching battle. Now, if you look at Keyshawn Davis, he is a really good counter-puncher. He has the speed, the boxing IQ to land the counter shots, and he's pretty good at doing it. And his trainer, Bomac, one of the best trainers that the sport of boxing has done a great job developing Terrence Crawford to be one of the best counter punchers in the sport of boxing already. So I think if Keyshawn Davis wins the counter punching battle, he has a good shot of winning his first world title against Dennis Berinchyk on Friday night. Now, next, he's got to set up. Keyshawn Davis has to set up traps. He can use the feint. If he can set up traps to make Dennis Berinchyk make mistakes, he could use the feint before using the jab, using 1-2 combinations to slow down Dennis Berinchyk, keep him honest, and keep him off of his game. And last but not least, I think Keyshawn Davis is going to have to walk down Dennis Berinchyk. Now, Keyshawn Davis can pin up Dennis Berinchyk on the ropes, and I've seen Keyshawn Davis do that in the past. He walks his opponents down, and then his opponents the back gets clipped on the ropes. Really no move. Once your back is on the ropes and your opponent is right in front of you, you really have no option. It's either fight back, or you're going to have to take that offensive punishment that your opponent's going to give you. So Keyshawn Davis can do that, pin Dennis Berinchyk on the ropes, going upstairs, landing shots, uppercut. Be careful for that if you're Dennis Berinchyk. He can land the uppercut or go downstairs to the body, dig down deep to the body to slow down Dennis Berinchyk, and possibly create damage on the body to slow him down offensively, not really wanting to fight back against Keyshawn Davis. So those are the game plans that I have for the respective fighters to follow. But with that being said, I'm going to go with Keyshawn Davis to defeat Dennis Berinchyk by knockout to become the new lightweight champion, the new WBO lightweight champion in the sport of boxing. I think Keyshawn Davis is going to really have a really good performance to help him win his first world title, and I think he's going to put the rest of the 135-pound division on notice, put world champions like Gervonta Davis. I mean, we know he's never fighting Shakur Stevenson, apparently. But Gervonta Davis and Vasily Lomachenko on notice. But I think Keyshawn Davis is going to use his boxing IQ. I think he's going to use the jab and win the counter-punching battle against Dennis Berinchyk to help him win that WBO world title Friday night on ESPN Top Rank. But when you look at it, I think Keyshawn Davis is just a better overall boxer. I think he has the better boxing skills. I think he's much faster than Dennis Berinchyk. He's got the age by a mile on him. Keyshawn being in his early 20s, Dennis Berinchyk being in his late 30s. So I think if Keyshawn Davis makes Dennis Berinchyk respect his power early on, Dennis Berinchyk is going to lose confidence, and I think Keyshawn Davis is going to earn the knockout victory to become the new WBO world champion in the sport of boxing at the lightweight division. But that is my Keyshawn Davis and Dennis Berinchyk fights prediction.